Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of the Fixing Microfactory series. Today, I am showing off the code as well as making some minor changes that surprisingly did so much. Like, the amount of speed I got from it is absurd. Currently, I'm just showing off every single item in the game. In case any of you are wondering what this game engine is, because it looks a little unfamiliar, this is MicroStudio. It is a game engine developed by one guy, I think he's from France, and it's amazing. It has every tool you could need. It has networking features. It has a sprite and map system, which is what I'm actually using to help make those crazy recipe generating thing, which I will be showing soon. But these are the tutorial recipes. And in, I think, episode 3, I mentioned how there were 2 recipes that were the same, and I wanted to change one of them. So, let's do that right now. This is how you change a recipe in the microfactory code. Ready? This is crazy stuff, I know. Do we choose... what do we want it to be? That's not used. I believe a previous step outputted stone, and it might be convenient to produce more of it since it is needed in the future. So, we'll produce some sand. Boom! That's the recipe changed. Just like that. It's that simple. These are the machines. We are currently just changing the way the rendering code works to render, or updating code, to update everything below us. And then we're also going to change the default sim distance back down to like 10 or something. That used rows list, every time you place a machine, it adds that row, or it turns that row to true. And then we can these are our hard-coded machines, such as the belts, and the launcher, and the garbage, and the combat thing. Every single one of them does some weird stuff, therefore they need something special. But this is our automatic recipe generator that finds the recipes and automatically runs them. And this is the machine function that allows them to function. They're 2 different parts working together that essentially allow me to do whatever the heck I want. Just add a new recipe to the list, which I will show very soon. Right here. This is every single recipe in the game. Now, let's see if we can make stuff a little faster. The first thing is I remember that the rendering is literally rendering everything. It's just literally rendering the entire world. And that is not very, that is not very efficient for resources. I'm just currently testing some things to see if I can make it better. We're going to bring out our little screen. We want it to be less than 100. We just restart the project. And once the loading screen is done, we'll see if anything happens. We obviously cannot test it because nothing is above the Y position of 100, which I believe is the top of the screen. I don't notice anything, but there actually is something going on here. But I guess you could say programming me was having a bit of a brain fart at this moment, so I wasn't really understanding what was going on. I have the power of hindsight, and in hindsight, everything I'm doing here is kind of pointless. One of the reasons that the game was so slow with the other world is because it was rendering the entire world, even the stuff we weren't using. Yeah. I'm just thinking currently, wondering why everything works the way it did, because I made this rendering a long time ago. And I'm looking at this saying, wait, aren't those the same thing? I did not realize that one had the variable y, while the other had the variable py, or player y. I finally realize how this thing works and can change it back to 100. I will be off camera going back and changing where that if statement is to be in the y range, which will optimize it even more. But now it's time to tackle the most scary thing of all. We have to figure out how we are going to make the machines not run every single recipe on every single tile. Because that is what it is currently doing. Every single one. You can see that the recipe has automatically changed from earlier, which is very good. It means everything's working. If you really want to try this game engine out for yourself, I would highly recommend it. The programming language is very easy, and it has a very extensive documentation. We will be, essentially, we will be, why am I struggling to say words? I don't know, I struggle with that sometimes. It is found at microstudio.dev. There's a very helpful community. It's indie, it's free, it's web-based, so you don't even have to download anything, although it does have a downloadable version. Right now, we are currently trying to figure out which thing is the machine in the map. See that little thing in the center? That's the machine that the thing is using. So, what we're doing is just putting that there, and realizing we have to put that after the the machi thing. And then we just put an end. It is actually crazy how I'm going to be troubleshooting this for an absurd amount of time. I forgot to put a then, which is essentially a colon if you do Python or a semicolon if you do anything else. For all those programmers out there, or people who want to try it, make sure to label stuff. I am bad at it. Don't be like me. Now we're going to try to make something more complicated to stress test it, and to make sure that everything is working as it should. Another piece of advice for programmers: make sure to test stuff. Because if you don't, things break a lot. You may notice that none of the machines are doing anything. This confuses me greatly, because I forgot to put a then after that brand new if statement. So, it just doesn't feel like working. I'm trying to see if there's something to do with its position, because earlier it worked fine. I still don't know why it worked fine earlier. That's strange, I thought. So I start looking at the ends, because I thought maybe it had something to do with that. And they're highlighting the wrong things. They're not supposed to be lined up to that. So I think about adding another end instead of looking at the new thing and adding a then. The wonders of programming. The amount of mistakes I have made trying to get stuff to work with this. If you think this is taking you a decent amount of time, imagine how long it took to make all this stuff in the first place. You see that code for the trash thing? Or the combat one's probably more accurate. That is essentially what every single machine used to have. They used to have a copy of that code. And that was not fun. Then, expected then. There's supposed to be a then somewhere. In line 71. Why 71? I don't know why I wanted it in 71, but I finally realized that I have to put a then there. Another reason why this is great. Errors are very useful. But look how much faster the ticks start going. For some reason it jumped like super high. I can't remember why it did that. I absolutely love that I'm able to get this stuff to work. We're just making a gunpowder setup. I'm not going to make the full pistol thingamabob. Da 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 dee da 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 dee da da da. And that is essentially the end. Thank you for joining me on this little programming adventure. And this update won't be published, but I'll see you later when it is.